Have you ever wondered how to get signed to Insomniac Records or one of the labels in the Insomniac Records labels group? These include labels like Factory 93, Basement Rush, Hard Records, In Rotation, or Basement Leak. Whether it's getting signed to the main Insomniac Records label or one of the labels in the Insomniac Records labels group, in this video, we're going to break down some of the key factors the label look for when they're signing artists. Joe Wiseman, the director of Insomniac Music Group, sat down recently on the Headliner Mindset podcast to discuss what the labels are looking for, and in that chat, from what he's saying and what he's not saying, it actually gives some telltale signs to what the label look for as artists and what they are signing. So let's jump in and break this chat down. Let's do this. The first thing to say is any of the record labels like Insomniac or Toolroom or Defected Records is they split the sounds that they are signing across labels within their groups. They also might split the size of artists across some of the labels in their group as well. So you might start on one of the smaller labels in the group and work your way up to the biggest labels. Insomniac are one of the biggest dance music brands in the United States, and it's more than just the record labels in their group. They have all of their big shows, including EDC, including Hard Summer, Holy Ship, Electric Forest, and many more. So becoming part of their world can open up massive doors for you across the States and in America and beyond. One thing that Joe emphasizes in this video and in this chat is it isn't just about the music. It starts with the music, but then it's about everything else you've got going on. And for them, they are clearly looking to sign certain size artists that have got stuff already happening. They are looking to build artists and develop them. They can sign single tracks, and some of our artists on the Artist Blueprint have signed single tracks to them, but they are looking for multi-track deals where they can build and develop artists over a long period of time. Insomniac aren't just looking for talent, they're looking for artists who know what they're doing. They're looking for artists that know how to promote themselves and have a clear vision for their career and where they're trying to get to. So when you send that demo to the label, you need to have more knowledge about what you're trying to achieve than just, I've finished a banger. It's more than just having good music. Good music opens the door, but strategy and promotion will make sure you stay in there, and it's going to make sure you land that deal. So, segment number one is the essentials of just going beyond good music. Nick, the host, asks what makes someone stand out in a sea of endless demos. Let's watch this now.
Let's talk about what it takes to get signed, because I think that's a question that a lot of my audience is probably wondering. A lot of people are out there, they're grinding on their tracks, they're building their audience, learning how to, create their brand and get their stuff out there. So, obviously getting to have the support of a powerhouse like the Insomniac machine behind you would be so cool and such a dream for so many people. What are you guys looking for when you sign artists, and what makes you say yes to bringing somebody on?
It's a great question, and we get asked it a lot. There's a lot of artists out there, and a lot of demos all the time. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, how many demos are you guys going through like a week, would you say?
It's endless. It's a lot.
Yeah. So what makes somebody stand out of the endless sea of people pitching you every day?
You would think I would have always the right answer for that, being the one that's kind of heading up the A&R process here. But, the music needs to be good, obviously, first and foremost. Like, that's the most important thing. Don't want to take that away from anyone. And also, when we get to that point where we're listening to the music, no matter who you are, I mean, I've turned down songs from some crazy names. That needs to be first and foremost, you're the best thing that you could work on and put out and feel comfortable with sharing. But on the other side of it too, is that we do look at the brands that the artists are, the artist brands and what they're putting out, what they're marketing, what they're doing on socials, what they're doing on the show side, the live side, what they're creating beyond just the song, the actual like MP3 and wave that they're sharing with us. It's important because that's how songs are marketed now. It's not just an audio, experience. It's a whole visual, audio, marketing, this whole 360 experience is what I would call it. So, we look at that with the artists, and if we feel like this, whoever it might be who's submitted or is in conversations with us has, that little oomph, that little extra, we'll get behind it and we'll pump in whatever they need from our end to help grow it even more. So it's really about, showcasing to the best of your ability everything that you can put on the table, not just the music, but everything. Like, this is my plan here, this is my plan there on the live side. I want to, you know, go on a tour here. I want to do this on a mix series. I want to hop on podcasts every week with you. You know, things like that. It all comes together, and it helps. In the end, it will help your music, and it will help get your sound out to more and more people. So, you know, we obviously, like, again, the music is the most important, but we do look at all these other things as well when we're thinking about who to sign or who to bring on or who to get behind as an artist.
Okay, so as you can see, that's super interesting. It's not just about the music, it's about everything you have going on. So they're looking for artists at a certain size before they even sign them. How do you even get into those discussions, and how do you even send that music to them? Joe goes into that in a second, and it also gives us a bit more of a clearer indication of the size of artists they're looking for, considering what they've got coming up. Think about what he's saying in there as well. You need to have a lot going on right at the moment. But let's see how he says about sending the demos in the next bit.
Somebody, if they had a little catalog of music and they wanted to, you know, pitch themselves, like, how does that best look for an artist? What's the demo pitching process for you guys?
So it can go about a few different ways. If you have a manager or even an agent who knows us and is familiar with, has worked with us before, and other artists, you know, a direct email from them is a great setup. You know, it's like it's a cosign from someone that we've already worked with. So obviously we don't want to rule out people that don't have any of those relationships. We want to give them the opportunity too. So we do have, you know, submission portals online that you can submit to. We do try to get to it. But honestly, the platform that we do push those artists that, you know, like, oh, I don't know anyone who knows anyone on Insomniac, is Discovery Project. We want, you know, submit to those. We run, like, last year, I think we did 15 or 16 contests, and this year we're going to do more. So
oh, damn.
a lot
so you
of
guys are doing a lot.
Okay, so what he's saying there is, if you've got a manager or someone who can send the music to the label and have an actual personal connection with the label already, maybe they're working with a few artists, maybe they've worked on releases together already, that kind of gives that cosign, but it also gives that authority that if you get into that stage where you have a manager, you're actually 3 or 4 or 5 levels up the ladder already, and that's the sort of size artist they're looking for. If you're thinking, right, I've made my first ever record, I want to be on Insomniac, I want to be the next Mal P, or I want to be playing those big Insomniac shows, well, then you need to scale it back a little bit to start with. You need to start building at the process right from the start, and then attack it a little bit further down the line, because what he's saying there is you can submit through the discovery progress, and that's going to get you on the ladder, and we'll chat about that in a second. But the best way to get through to them is having someone send the music to you, that's someone that knows them and someone that's worked with them, i.e. that means that you're already making music, you're already doing stuff, you're already up the ladder, you've already had some releases, you've already had a bit of a catalogue behind you, you've also got music made that's more than just one track, more than just I finished a record, I want it on Insomniac, or I want it on Factory 93, or I want it on In Rotation. You've got a catalogue of music ready to go, maybe 4 or 5, 6 tracks, and then you're thinking, right, next year I want to be on these releases, maybe 3 or 4 across their platforms all year, and I'm going to hit them with those 3, and these are 3, 4 killer tracks that I can see over that whole period, and I really want to work with them in that period. But still, someone's got to send that music to them, and someone has got to have that relationship, which comes back to networking, it comes back to working with a label and your networking and how to build those relationships, but also someone's already done that process for you, and someone like a manager or someone like myself, like I work in the industry for the last 20 years and I have connections with them. We work with Insomniac all the time, and then co-signing that record and saying, this is someone we're into, this is someone we've been supporting, we can push the record forward and open that door. But if you're thinking, this is my first track, this is my second track, I want to be on Insomniac, then I'm afraid this isn't the labels you're looking for. In my best Star Wars voice, these aren't the label you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
But if you're watching this and think, I've got a strong base, then let's carry on. I may not be big enough for the main label, but I may have to drop down and pick one of the smaller labels and then work up to the bigger label. But this is where, like, I need to start researching each of these labels. So then, where does your sound actually fit? If your sound doesn't fit the main label, don't pitch to the main label. If you are more Factory 93, or if you are more In Rotation, pitch to those labels and start working with those labels. Start building your presence in those labels. And to be honest, spamming all the labels, again, it's just not going to be right. Pick the one and really focus on that is your key label, and that is your focus, and that's going to be your focus for the next year, and you're just going to keep working and keep grinding to get on that label. When I work with my course members in the Artist Blueprint, we literally sit there for hours working out which labels are going to be right for you, and spending the time researching labels, really going into depth and going, right, does my sound fit this label? Can I see myself on this label? But also, what other artists are on that label? If you're listening back through the catalogue, does it fit? Is it the right speeds? Is it the right tempos? Does it have the right certain key factors that fit on that label? Or do I just want to be on that label, but it's not actually the right label for me? Okay, now, if you want to submit to one of the small smaller labels, there are submission processes and you can go through them. And let's have a little dig and I can find a submission for Factory 93, which is really cool. Right, so I've gone to the Factory 93 website. I had a little scroll down and I found right at the bottom there's a contact us. And if you go to contact us, then there is a demo submission form on Contact Us, and then it takes you through to demos, and they actually use a track stack, and you click through and you submit for the track stack, which Joe mentions actually. If we scroll back a second, he mentions that he uses some of these portals, and these are some of the places they are checking the portals. But if you notice in that video, he did say,
obviously, we don't want to rule out people that don't have any of those relationships. We want to give them the opportunity too. So we do have, submission portals online that you can submit to. We do try to get to it.
So as you can see, look, they do take the submissions through those forms, and they try to get to and try to check them. That means they're not checking them all the time, and it's not as great a way of getting signed as if someone's sending it to it or you're using Discovery Project. Okay, let's chat Discovery Project. And what is it? I've been digging into it as well. Let's find out what it is. The next way to get it heard is via their project, the Discovery Project. And if we bring that up on the site as well, we can have a look through their site and see what it's all about. If we read the site, let's read what it says. This is on their website, Discovery Project, and I'll link to this below. Insomniac's Discovery Project was created to give a voice to emerging artists in the electronic music scene, aimed at cultivating these scenes up untapped talent. The platform strives to bring today's freshest faces to light through editorial exposure, performances, and competitions in a unique artist way. Selected Discovery Project participants given an opportunity to showcase their talent at multiple Insomniac Festival events across the country. Online on our content portal provides valuable news and opinions geared to all the creators and collaborators, while the artist collectively highlights work achievements of their past development artists. And essentially, they've got these projects on all the time, and you can literally submit to them. And what that's going to do is by submitting to one of those profiles, and if you win it, then it's going to put you in front of them. It's going to put you up a little bit up that ladder. When you go to these shows, you're going to get an opportunity to network with the Insomniac team. It's going to give you that personal contact. It's going to give you that contact that manager has or that artist has that's already done that. And it's going to open that door a little bit so you can stick your foot in and kind of nudge through it a little bit. Discovery Project also now has its own label, and they're obviously signing acts to their own labels. Now, when we look into that label and we look at the kind of artists that they're signing, again, these artists have got a following. These artists have got stuff going on. They've already had previous records. They have maybe 10,000 followers as opposed to 100,000 followers or 200,000 followers the big artists have got. They've got at least 10,000. They've played their own shows. It's not their first ever gig. But I would still keep entering and keep putting yourself on their radar and keep growing, because it's going to help you make content. It's going to help you make content when you're putting your pitch together and you're putting your entry together. So it's going to give you content for your socials and everything with these massive labels. It's about grinding over multiple years and keep hitting for that big label, putting that label at the top of your vision board and your goals, and then just keep driving towards it. These discovery projects and these kind of sending demos, it's the first step of a very lengthy process, but it will be worth it when you get there. The fourth section is promote, promote, promote. As we've demonstrated throughout this video, Joe has definitely said it's more than just the music. It's about what you're doing as an artist. It's about also how you're promoting your tracks and how you're promoting yourself as an artist through your social media, through your Spotify, through your SoundCloud, and really just growing all of your channels and your platform so that you've got something to talk about and you've got something that they can use to help promote the records if they signed you to their label and if they booked you for their shows. And Joe again states it later in this interview. So let's again see what he says and let's learn from what he's talking about.
Your song on your own, no matter who you are, no matter what level. That's first and foremost when setting up the song. And then comes like the marketing and PR side of it, right? So marketing, what content can I make? Like, what's the best content plan for this song? Starting 2 weeks before release, 1 week before release, and then 1 week post release. You know, what cool memes, what funny memes, what live clips of the song being played out, or me playing the song out, or just like a live stream of me DJing and getting that clip of the song that's going to help get it, promoted out there. What can I do on my channels to help hype up the song as much as possible? I mean, you've seen it more and more, like the pre-release hype content is what gets the song going, even, before it even comes out nowadays, especially like with TikTok and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's important. Not everyone's a content creator, so I get that too, but at least putting together 3 or 4 things that you think might help elevate or get the song out and in front of as many people as possible is going to be helpful. And then when it hits release day, your PR plan is important too. So, I used to do this back in the day. I'm sure you did too. I used to, reach out to blogs on my own. I'd email direct emails to a Dancing Astronaut or EDM.com or whatever it might be, trying to see if they'll just give me a little love, throw me in their weekly playlist or weekly top picks, trying to get a couple of those looks here and there. YouTube channels as well. A lot of these channels now have submission hubs. SubmitHub.com is also a great one because you can just literally drop your song on there, send it out to a bunch of blogs, a bunch of YouTube channels, and hopefully it gets picked up by a few of them, and they sometimes will add it into their Spotify playlist. So it helps the track get more and more eyes and ears on it as possible. So that's your like PR marketing strategy thing up to release. And then post-release is like, okay, I've done everything to get this release teed up and now it's out there. What else can I do now to keep it rolling? So it's creating that like phase 2 marketing, whether it's like, oh, I'm gonna try and put out a DJ mix on SoundCloud, or try and get my local radio station to air it, making those, finding that info at wherever radiostation.com email and just sending it, doing a cold email out to them, seeing whether a promo you can add on top just to keep the hype building and hype growing, trying to get it into DJ's hands, trying to find, if you don't have a DJ promo service working for you to send it out on an email blast to DJs, you going and digging on SoundCloud and finding those, most DJs have it listed now, finding the submission emails for demos and then sending out to those artists that you'd want to play your song.
So this is killer information. What he's saying there is stuff that I always talk about on this channel, and I've been banging about on this channel for a long time, how to build yourself as an artist, how to promote your music. And what he's saying there is it's about making the content. Like he said, 3 or 4 pieces of content after a release, once it's gone out, to keep the hype going. And then maybe reaching out to blogs. So he mentioned Dancing Astronaut, they're a great blog. But also Data Transmission, we're a great blog. We premiere 2 tracks a day in all genres, essentially house, techno is myself, drum and bass, jungle is Shelly. And literally you can reach out to us and say, hey, I've got a new track coming out in 3 or 4 weeks. Can you premiere it? Can you upload it to your YouTube channel or your SoundClouds? And essentially push that release through our channels to give it that extra exposure. And again, it's from what he's saying there, he's expecting the artist to do something. He's expecting the artist to be part of the conversation and also be part of the collaborative process of pushing this record. It's not just about what they can do as a label. Yes, they're going to add loads of reach from the label and they've got loads of channels and they're going to push it themselves, but the artist needs to be doing something. The artist needs to be making content. The artist needs to be pushing stuff, and the artist needs to be making content that says, this is my record. I did this, or maybe like you said, videos you playing it. And even if you said there from a live stream, it can be just you live streaming. Maybe you've got a live stream on Twitch or YouTube and you're cutting the clips for content for that release. The next thing you talk about was making DJ mixes for SoundCloud. SoundCloud is still a massive platform, and we speak about how to grow SoundCloud on this channel loads, and I've got loads of videos for it, so go and check them out afterwards. But then also you making your mix for yourself and including that track in the mix. We have 170 people hosting radio shows on our Data Transmission Radio, and if you wanted to sign up for one of our radio shows, you could have a monthly or weekly show, which then gives you an opportunity to shout about your tracks and your music and connect with people and network with people by bringing guests onto your show, which then opens up the reach by saying, hey, do you want to come on my Data Transmission Radio show, and attaching yourself to a brand, which then gives you a bigger audience. Don't want to do that? Just release mixes on your own platform, release mixes on your own SoundCloud. Hey, I've dropped a new mix. It gives you something to shout about in the content across your socials, but also SoundCloud's a massive platform and it's got a big audience, and it's going to help you shout about your release and yourself as an artist and a DJ at the same time. One big point he made is sending promos to DJs yourself and having that personal connection, picking some of the artists that might play your tracks and then start connecting with them in the DMs and in the messages and saying, hey, I've got this track, it's coming out. We're just going to send you a copy before everyone else. Here's a version in case you like to play it. And it's going to connect you via DM. You're not trying to sign a track to the label. You're not asking for anything. You're just kind of give. Here's a new track. And everyone loves exclusive material for their sets and a new banger that someone else doesn't have. I found this interview with Joe really interesting. I'm going to link to the whole interview below. It's a great conversation and it reiterates a lot of the stuff that I've been saying already in my content, that it's not just about the music, it's about everything you've got going on. If you're finished tracks and you're trying to sign one to Insomniac, really look and really microanalyze where you are at as an artist and a DJ. Are you ready for those labels yet? Have you got what he says, enough going on? Have you got someone that can send your tracks out to them? Because if you haven't, then you're probably not the right size yet. So just step down the ladder a little bit, find some more labels, get some more releases, build a good base of tracks that you in your space and labels that are killing it in your space, maybe down the ladder a little bit, and then try and step that up to the next bigger label. Work on your release schedule for next year, build your content strategy, and that's going to build you up to working with Insomniac and build you up to signing those big tracks. Because then once you do, like I said right at the start, it can open up gigs, it can open up everything else that comes with signing to a big label like Insomniac. And if you need help getting signed to those labels, you need help building your base and your content. That's what we do with the Artist Blueprint and my course, the Artist Blueprint. And we've done for over 165 artists already. We We've helped them achieve their goals. We've helped them get signed to the labels. We've signed thousands of tracks to labels over the last 10 years of working with artists. I've had massive revolts. We've had grown people from 0 streams to hundreds of thousands of streams on their tracks. We've had DJs go from playing in their bedrooms to touring the world and playing some of the biggest clubs in the world. Over the last 10 years of working with artists personally, I've learned how to build artists from their bedroom to the next stage, to that stage where they're getting management and booking agents. And if you want to work with me, then it's about jumping on a discovery call. Let's chat, find out what you're doing, what you're up to so far, and see if you're right for this next stage of your development. Want to know more about TrackStack? Then I interviewed the owners of TrackStack at Brighton Music Conference last year, and they tell you how to use TrackStack and how to get the most out of the platform. So you want to go and watch this video next and learn how to use TrackStack and all the benefits of being on TrackStack. It's a great platform, and for DJs and producers and electronic music, it's definitely a good place to get your music signed and to help you get more tracks signed in the coming years.